Welcome to another exciting episode, Living Well Together.
Big life in a small town.
That's us. Mm-hmm. And it's noon.
It's you and I today.
Yes, it's you and I today.
It's not noon today.
Just you and I. Just you and I.
So it's really 8 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday.
Right.
So whatever time you're listening.
Yeah, marvelous. And so we did another Just You and I a little while ago.
Right.
So it's kind of...
Yes, I love doing this. Yes, it was last week.
Well, here's the fun part about this. We're not going to talk about health and well-being today.
We are not. I have a whole list of questions.
What you had put out like through the social circles.
SOS.
Ask us anything kind of a thing. So you got some
us
questions
anything.
that, do I get to see them before?
No, I'm going to be the one because you're so good on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's not true.
we'll do some rapid fire ones. Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a tea person.
You are? Well, you've turned into kind of a tea person.
Yeah. For a while, I was only drinking like plain black tea.
Yeah.
But I've always loved just taking sunshine tea, a bag of sunshine tea, and a bag of sweet tangerine black tea.
Okay.
And put it in a bottle.
Fancy.
And then just fill it up with water. And then I just drink that. Like I don't heat it up. No. I don't put it in the sun. It just
let
makes
it do its thing.
Yeah, it's so good. Good for my brain. Favorite way to unwind after a long day? I know that's a little tricky.
Can we say that on air?
Babe, our kids sometimes listen.
No, they don't. Don't kid yourself.
Well, Graham's here.
You gotta listen to this 4 times.
Sorry, Graham. No, for real. What do you do when you come home after a long day?
Swap out of my workaday clothes and into something casual and comfy if we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we just catch up, really.
Yes. But that's the thing that I notice. It's like the clothes that you wear in the office. Mm-hmm. It's like your uniform and it's your professional brain. But immediately when you come home, you change. Like that is the thing that you do. And I feel like it shifts your whole demeanor. Like you're just in like...
Cash,
chill mode.
And I may have some calls to return or some
you do
other stuff
sometimes
to do,
and you've started doing something where you chat with your potential patients ahead of time.
Yeah, we
and
don't
so
burn a ton
really
of time
fun.
anymore with in-office consultations.
Yeah.
It's easier to do a telecall and like
it saves them a trip over here.
100%.
And it's really it's worked out well for you guys, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So you'll do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you do that with your office clothes on, or is that after you get changed?
It could be either way.
I feel like it's more when you're in your office clothes still.
Sometimes, but it could be both.
Okay.
It could be both.
Do you have a guilty pleasure snack? We're still here.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's really thinking hard.
Chips. I guess chips.
Chips? Yeah. Okay.
They're gross, but they're so delicious.
I know. You're a salty snack person, although you do have a sweet tooth, even though you deny
sometimes.
it.
I got some of those Purulines. They're shaped like this pen, and they come in a round, a cylinder can. I was leaving the at-home store recently, and they...
Oh, is that where you got those?
Oh, my gosh. They have this whole aisle of fabulousness on your way to check out. It's the worst thing ever. But it's like, I guess I do need a can of those cookies.
And you got 2. One chocolate, one vanilla.
I didn't know which ones you'd prefer. And
I know. Do you want to talk about what you did with the can, though?
Oh.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's really fascinating. So I have to tell you that one of the things that I admire the most about my husband is that he has a MacGyver brain. Like he is so good at figuring things out. You really are, babe. Like things that are like, oh my gosh, this seems so complex. And you're like, nope, I got it. And he'll pull, some duct tape and a stick and,
engineering. We just like to engineer things.
Yes.
But I had seen some videos online, these bushcraft videos. I don't know if you people don't do it. If you never watched bushcraft videos, don't start.
I do not watch them.
Well, you'll see these guys camping in a winter snowstorm with, a tarp and a blanket and
on purpose.
They
do this like for...
Yeah, but kind of survival skills kind of a thing. And I watched this guy make charcoal with, sticks. He cut sticks and actually put them in it. He had an Altoid tin. So he had cut
seems
these
so tiny.
sticks the size that would fit in an Altoid tin, and then you puncture the tin so that steam and heat can escape. And then you just throw that tin with sticks in it into the campfire.
Okay.
And the fire will char the wood without burning it up, right? Because you've reduced the amount of oxygen and so on. So what you get when you're done is charcoal. And you'll say, well, gosh, why wouldn't you just go buy charcoal? Which you could.
Yeah. But in the wilderness setting,
Well,
right?
charcoal is a filtration thing. Charcoal is a poison remover. Charcoal is a million uses. But last night I was sitting around the fire. But when I have to admit, when I bought these Purulane cookies, I'm thinking, man, you can make some good charcoal in this little can. So I did.
Because you cut the sticks and you put them in there. You stuffed it full of these sticks, right?
I took
Are
pictures.
they just sticks
put
from our
pictures up.
yard?
Yeah, from the pine boughs.
Okay. Oh, really? So, okay. Is different kind of charcoal better or worse?
Yeah, hardwood is better than probably those pines. That was the first time I'd ever done it. I just well, I'm making a fire anyway. I might as well make some charcoal.
Yeah.
So I did. Yeah. And there you go. Worked out great.
Yeah. And so then you threw.
Turns out it's true. Fact checkers say it's true. You can make charcoal from wood.
And charcoal really is good for it.
It's a detoxifier. It's a filtration device. Yeah, you could filter water with it for sure. You would never drink water from a creek, but you could create a filter. And
from a
charcoal.
health perspective, taking activated charcoal.
Which this is not. This is charcoal, but not activated charcoal.
What is the difference between
activated charcoal? Well, the deal with charcoal is once you've charred it, it becomes more porous.
Okay.
And that's where it gets its filtration properties. Activated charcoal, actually, you would take regular charcoal and force steam through it.
And make it porous again?
Which makes it more porous.
More porous. Okay.
So the reason it's a good filter is it removes impurities because of its porousness. Think of it almost like a sponge, kind of. Like a sponge will hold ingredients.
Right.
So charcoal is a filter because it's so porous, and the properties in the charcoal are attractive to certain microbes and other things. So yeah, it's a filter.
Interesting. Yeah, and we use that internally for removing toxins.
Oh, activated charcoal is smart for poison of any kind, really.
Or if you're doing any kind of a parasite cleanse, you need to have a binder, and activated charcoal is a good thing to use for that.
Right. So all the trash in the system is attracted into that charcoal and then passed through the system.
Sort of like grabs it.
Yeah. Gives it a place to go.
Yeah. Morning person or night owl? Oh, did you answer the
for
question?
sure, morning
Did you
person.
answer the guilty snack? I guess you said
Chips.
Chips, okay. And then you talked about the period.
Chips and pretzels.
Pretzels.
And then sometimes something sweet.
Yeah. Mine is.
Why am I answering the questions?
It's
How come
okay.
you're asking?
You can, because you think faster than I do. So you
not
can
true.
start it off, and then donuts are my guilty pleasure.
All right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just fire right back to you.
I love
But you already seen the questions. So.
No, actually, I haven't. These are all new to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
So morning person or night owl?
Oh, for sure, morning.
Definitely a night owl here. That's
Best
one of
part of the day is before the sun's even up sometimes, depending on the time of year. Right now, the sun's up at 5:15, 5:30.
Right. Yeah. I just have always gotten more stuff done at night. You always get started early.
I think that's, when our kids were little, we would both be up until they were to bed. And then having been with them all through the day, whether it was schooling or just raising kids,
Yeah.
you didn't get a lot of your things done. So the nighttime was your time for you and for us to get things done.
And that's when I lived in a world where if I didn't complete everything on my to-do list, I felt like a failure. So I made sure that I got through everything on my to-do list.
Thankfully, you've gotten through your failure years.
Yep. What's something you always keep in your fridge? Something that you always keep in your fridge. So that could be your
Like
beverage.
refrigerated items, or what?
What's your?
What do we never not have?
Right. Yeah. What's something you always keep in your fridge? Like your favorite kind of beer, maybe, or like lately, one of the things that I've been keeping in my fridge is the little tiny 8-ounce bottles of Pellegrino, because me and Honey love to drink those together and cheers each other. So that's something that I've been keeping. But also, I keep celery and cucumbers always.
Right.
But like,
Smoothie
what
stuff,
for
fruit
you?
stuff.
Yeah.
There's always mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise and mustard, those are your favorite condiments.
I hate running out of mayonnaise.
Fair. Yeah, we do. Yeah, you got a great big avocado
It's
oil.
probably not the best thing for you, but at the end of the day,
It's a lot of fat for fatty liver disease. Not that
I'm
you
not
have
concerned.
that, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that deal with that. So,
We said we were going to talk about health.
Right, yeah. What's something else? What's your favorite kind of beer?
It depends on the time of the day or the day of the week or the month of the year. Or I don't know that I have a favorite kind of beer.
Really?
Well, after a hot day, if you're doing yard work, you want a light-ish beer.
Yeah.
On a cold winter day, if you're having beef stew, you want a stout or a porter.
Okay.
Being an IPA or I like it all.
Okay, so then how many different varieties of beer do you think are in the beverage fridge outside?
6,
Is that the most you've ever had?
probably. I don't know.
Is that fair, Graham? Do you think 6 is accurate?
Between son-in-laws and now grandsons and various and sundry guests, I just try to keep a potpourri so that people can
You
have
are
a selection.
a really good bartender host. Back to your roots, right? What's one thing you can't leave the house without?
I won't leave the house without my keys. I won't leave the house without my pocket knife. I won't leave the house without a watch. I won't leave the house without a wallet. Clothing is optional, but those things got to go. So keys, knife, cash. I always have cash.
Yeah.
I don't like having no pocket money.
Yeah.
And then my wallet and watch. Yeah, there's certain things.
Yeah. So for
How about
me,
you? What do you leave?
Yeah,
What won't you leave? Earrings.
well, yeah, like I'm not going to talk about my
Lip
physical
gloss.
being. I'll just talk about what's in my
What's in
purse.
your wallet?
So I do always have my lip gloss, but I also always have mints, wintergreen mints. Me and Honey love those too.
That's true.
And so, yeah, I always have a can of those. And then I also prefer cash. And then I also always have my little remote clicker so that I can take selfies
Content.
wherever I am.
Don't call them
So that's
selfies. Call them something else.
Okay, I'll call them content,
Yeah, content.
but they really are selfies. Or they're selfies with other people, so I know they call them
Those
ussies.
are ussies, yeah.
So like when I meet Mom and Laureen for lunch, we always I usually bring my little mini tripod
Right.
too. So I set that up, and then we use my little
Content
remote.
creation is
Yeah.
a big part of your life.
Yeah, and they'll attest to that, won't you guys?
Yeah.
They will.
They will.
But I think like it's always bad if I don't leave home. You know, like if I forgot my phone at home, that's always kind of a freaky thing.
See, that's always a gift.
I know you said
That'll
that.
happen once in a while. And it's like, oh my gosh, how liberating is that?
Yeah. Yeah, that it is. Do you ever watch TV?
Of course.
Yeah. What's your favorite
We don't watch a
shows or
lot of
movies?
TV.
We don't.
We'll use that as I think of TV like bubblegum for your brain. Every now and again, you just need something to chew on that doesn't make a lot of sense. I love watching Cheers. I love watching old Seinfeld episodes. I love watching, I like golf on TV. If I'm watching live TV,
Yeah.
I want it to be sometimes a Sunday afternoon.
I love to watch golf on TV.
Yeah, it's
We've watched a couple of things that we're not going to admit to lately.
like what?
We're not admitting to it.
Oh, like binge watch? What was the one with the criminals in it?
Oh, that was good.
The Outlaws.
The Outlaws. That was
got-
really, really good.
we
That
got
was
hooked
3
into that.
seasons. That
Yeah.
was really good. The first, we thought we were watching a different, we pulled it up
Somebody
because
said
we
watch.
thought
Grace and Graham said watch
Yeah.
this movie called The Outlaws.
The Outlaws.
as in in-laws versus outlaws.
Right. And then,
And we ended up finding that. But before we found the movie, we actually found this series, I think on Netflix or Amazon or something like that. And it had Christopher Walken. It was the only American. Everybody else was British.
it was really good. It really,
We
like,
did get
it
hooked
had
in. I won't
us.
say it was really good. I will say we got hooked in.
Well, the story was, I thought the storyline was good. It kept
Yeah.
us very on our toes.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big thriller person, but this was on the edge of thriller
yeah.
to me.
Yeah, we finished it. And that's not common for us.
No,
People say,
no.
oh, have you watched? I think we're the only people I know that have never seen a Game of Thrones episode.
That's true.
Or
Yeah.
now, if we're talking British baking show,
Well, we've watched every
That
one of
is a
those
guilty
and
pleasure
reruns.
for you.
Yeah. Well, Grace loves it too.
any cooking,
Yeah.
baking, HGTV-ish.
Caitlin is the queen of knowing the shows. She sends us lots of recommendations. Yeah. She does a lot of,
Some of which we'll follow.
usually we get around to them eventually. And I mean, she's the one that told us about the,
TV takes up a lot of brain space if you let it. Our TV's in the basement, lower level. You have to be intentional about turning it on if that's going to happen.
yeah. And so we are intentional then usually about what we're going to watch. Too.
Yep.
Instead of just like, we're not the like clicker.
We're not the leave the TV on 24 hours in the background with a news channel on it. We haven't watched the news for 30 years.
I know. Well, not that we don't get the news from like social media though.
Oh, you'll get the news.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get force-fed the news, but at the end of the day, we never sit down and intentionally watch news, ever.
So we don't really have a favorite show. We really liked the Dick Van Dyke Show when we watched that back in the day.
Well, that was during the lockdowns when you find all kinds of stuff to, everybody watched more TV during the lockdowns, I suppose.
Yeah. What's the last thing that made you laugh out loud?
When we were driving over here, I laughed out loud. What'd you say? You said something silly.
Well, I was looking at some of the other here. I'll read it to you again. Yes, it was really funny. Because you misheard me or I misspoke.
Oh,
and
must have.
What are your top 3 must-have supplements or wellness tools?
And I thought you said, what are your top 3 mustache supplements? And I'm like, I don't know, but they're not working.
The other thing that, I hear you laughing throughout the house. You will watch those videos of the babies, and he's dying laughing. And who is it? Is it
Theo Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn. Those are the ones that you have. He is like so loud. Like I could be on other levels of the house, and I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing.
Watching these stupid AI baby videos. I don't know who has time for that. I mean, how do you build those?
Oh,
You
yeah.
what?
AI does the AI babies.
Oh, we're gonna have to find that. Let's see if we can make an AI version of us for this.
Actually,
Shut up.
I don't want to reveal, but
What?
no, I think I am going to do that.
With babies?
So. No,
Come
no.
on.
You want to do baby ones?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Some baby
All
with
right.
white hair.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, friends. Baby with white hair. Favorite meal to cook at home? What's your favorite meal that I make?
I like everything you make.
I know, and you're so sweet to say that. But like, do you have a favorite?
I think pot roast is always a winner.
And it's
especially in
one
the
of my
cold
favorite
weather.
to make because it's like you just take these ingredients and you throw them in this pot and it turns into this delectable meal.
Yeah. But anytime you're doing a
magical.
sauce,
Yeah, I
anytime
love to
there's a
make
marinara, and your spaghetti squash with olive oil.
Exactly what I thought you were
Crushed
thinking.
tomatoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fresh tomato sauce that you make with olive oil and tons of garlic. And you serve that over roasted spaghetti squash. And it is just so simple and light and it's a really
But I don't care what it is. Anything you make is better than anything we're getting in a restaurant. Anytime we know what the ingredient list is and we can pronounce everything that's on the list, as opposed to all the chemical trash. That
how I can tell when we've eaten out too much? Is I get these little bags under my eyes. It's just all this sodium retention and not good sodium. I'm a salt person, but
right.
it's just like, you need
That's
to
a little
stay
too
home.
close to talking about health. Keep moving.
Oh. Okay. What's your favorite book?
Ooh, Proverbs.
Oh, okay. So book of the Bible is Proverbs. Okay. Mine is Nehemiah.
Okay.
But I meant, because you do have several books that you really do like. Jonathan Cahn's books?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite book.
Okay. Do you have a favorite author?
I don't usually read for pleasure. It's not usually I'm not going to pick up a novel and just start reading.
So are there any
Somebody
books that you've
gifted me.
reread?
No.
Yeah, I have.
I re-listened. I'll get things on Audible and listen in the car, listen, in the camper or whatever.
And Jim Rohn would fall into that category.
Jim Rohn is one of my favorite mentors in the whole world. I don't know when he passed away, probably in the late 80s, early 90s. But somebody had gifted me a set of Jim Rohn audio cassette tapes. And this is when the kids were little. And it's just about lifestyle and living and mind stuff. And
but just those golden nuggets of
his
truth.
He's
voice, so good.
His voice is one of those ones that you either absolutely love it or it drives you up a wall like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
But I love it. If I could go back, if you could take somebody to lunch, living or dead, who would you take?
Oh, I don't know, but
So I'm not allowed to ask any other questions.
Well,
I would take Jim Rohn to lunch. Like if I got to spend a day.
I would take Esther.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an amazing story to me.
I
I
agree.
love her story.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, that's going in the Wayback Machine. Jim Rohn was just a couple decades ago. You're talking BC. Oh, shoot.
Okay. So like your favorite book, you just kind of like a lot of them, and
I don't have a favorite.
Yeah.
But I don't read. I haven't read the classics. I haven't read Moby Dick. I mean,
You didn't have to read that in school?
if I did, I kind of
know.
skimmed it. I'm
Yeah, we
sure
probably got
reading
the
was
Cliff
not
Notes.
a high priority for me as
I didn't
a
like
younger
those
person
kind
at
of
all.
things.
I like business things now. I like productivity things now. I like emotional, not really emotional, but I like things that make me think a little bit. You mentioned Jonathan Cahn, anything he's done, The Harbinger 2,
Yeah.
Return of the Gods.
Those books are just crazy to me.
Right.
The prophetic messages throughout those.
Right. One of the ones that I read, this is a long time ago, Piche gifted me this, and it was called The Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid.
Yes.
And it is Bill Bryson's kind of memoirs from growing up in the 50s and 60s in Iowa. But he did just such a good job of giving you the history of the time. It was in the Cold War era, and here's how people behaved and what they thought. But he also introduced you to like his neighborhood friends, and they did shenanigans. And I don't know, I was laughing
You
so
were laughing
hard.
out loud. You read parts of that out loud to me, and it was just really enjoyable.
Yeah. So, but like I said, to pick up a book just for fun reading is not usually something I'm like, I can't wait to read. For the longest time, my vision wouldn't let me read.
Yeah.
Reading was a chore. So,
Oh yeah, your optical changes.
situation.
It's so good though.
It's getting better.
Yeah. You were able to play golf for the
Do you
first.
have a favorite book?
Yes. Oh yeah, my book is my favorite book. That was a cue from Graham. Here we go. This is my favorite
What's
book.
your favorite book? Oh, yes. We'll put a QR code up.
And actually, the book is trademarked now too. Trademarked, and also I have a couple of different formulas inside the book that are trademarked as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, signature formulas.
You're a hustler. You are just a hustler.
Chelsea really helped me pull those trademarks together, because that is
One of our previous guests on the podcast, actually.
She is an amazing assistant, and she has done so many fabulous things that I never would have been able to do without her. But no, as far as I read for mindless pleasure. I love a romance novel. I couldn't tell you the names of them. They're all like The Sacred Lover, or, just really over the top. And so those are the books that I will read, like if I'm just trying to escape. But I do like I just got a book called something about the Great Wealth Theory or something like that. And so I love to read those kind of books, like in the daytime when my mind is really engaged and I'm thinking.
And I just got Generation Hoodwinked.
Oh, yeah.
Laura Sanger, which is fascinating. She does a good job of hypothesizing and connecting scripture to biblical history to current events to here's how it's going and why it's going that way. And
where did we hear her first? Did she have her own podcast?
She was on Blurry Creatures.
She was on Blurry Creatures. Okay.
Yeah, on the podcast.
Yeah. That's another really cool
if you
one
can
to
get your
check
hands on anything, Laura Sanger, The Roots of the Federal Reserve was another one I read from her.
And Caitlin tuned us into the telepathy tapes, and those were really, that was great too. Did you listen to those?
I have not.
Really fascinating stuff too. Do you prefer the beach or the mountains?
Mountains.
I prefer the beach, but I do.
Although I got to say, every time we do a beach, I think, well, I could be a beach person.
That's true. You do always say that
doesn't
too.
Suck.
No.
Or beach or lakes.
Beach or, definitely beach over lake. Definitely.
Well, it
beach
would
over lake.
depend.
But then Lake Michigan is like being at the ocean.
Some lakes feel pretty beachy.
Yeah.
But yeah, being near the water, I like.
Here's the thing. Here's the difference for me, Graham, is I do not like to feel those slimy leaves on the bottom of a lake. So that's what turns me off to lakes. But there are some there's sandier lakes. I think Up near Julian Dawn. Those are more sandy.
Jump off the deck.
And then don't touch. Yeah. But see, I love like just wading in the water and the waves and stuff too. So that's the ocean
You're
for
an
me.
ocean person.
What's one place that you'd love to travel to?
I'm going to say Switzerland.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all that is Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, that whole little.
What about
Part of
Antarctica?
No, I don't. You're not allowed to go there. Really. They discourage that.
So there's no place on Antarctica that you're allowed to go
You might be able to get.
with supervision?
Yeah.
Got it.
There's
Okay.
something about Antarctica that they just don't want us to know. So
So fascinating. I would love for our whole family to go back to Italy.
okay.
We've been there twice, but I could totally do another trip there. But as far as places that I've never been to, I think that I would really like to go to Iceland.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's not that hard.
I know. Well, it is harder than you think. It's like from Dayton, it is probably at least like 15 hours of travel
Okay.
because there's a lot of
Piggledy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got company on the other end, though. We've got a chiropractic
I
friend in
know.
Iceland.
I did think about that. Actually, when we were talking about this right before their volcano, was
Right.
that last year?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he had some great suggestions for us. So it's definitely on the
And there was
list.
just a chiropractic event in Iceland. Some of our upper cervical people were just there 2 weeks ago.
What's your favorite place that we've been to so far?
I love everywhere we've been, but I like Scotland.
Scotland, I was going to say.
Scotland was fun.
And you golfed in Ireland, and you really love that too.
Yep.
Lily and the boys and I went on that whale watching excursion through Baja Expeditions, and that was magical. That was
Off the coast of Mexico.
Yep, Baja area. What was your first job, babe?
My first actual paycheck job
Yeah, paycheck job.
was at a car dealership in Chillicothe. One of my friends, Tom Bennett. Hey, Tom. His dad was a sales manager at a car dealership. And so when I was 14, I got my first job at a car dealership.
So did you move cars around? You weren't allowed to drive.
No. And I worked in the annex. So it was, used cars would come in, and my job was to spruce them up, sweep them up, clean them up, yada, 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 get them ready for resale.
What year was that?
Way back in the 1900s,
Was it like the 70s?
70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
First
So the
paycheck.
cars back then.
I wasn't old
a
enough
lot
to
different.
drive because my dad would still have to pick me up, get me out. Although I did learn to drive because the guys that worked there were like, come on, you're going to learn how to drive. So I did. And they were something special. But yeah, that was my first get a paycheck job.
Yeah. Huh. That's
What was yours?
interesting. Well, I babysat for a long time,
not a real job.
but that's not really a real
No W-2s.
Right. So the Worthington Inn was my first job. And
Okay.
that was great.
You were the
I
hostess
loved
with
it.
the mostest?
No, I was actually a server.
Okay.
It was a giant smorgasbord. And so you didn't have to like bring out food necessarily, but you had to bring out the warm rolls. We had these bun warmers. And oh my gosh, it would smell so good. And so you had to bring them out their little rolls and butter, and then they would go through the buffet. And so it was really fun. Yeah, I liked it. And that's like you've mentioned before, everybody should be in food service at one time.
Oh, I think everybody should have to work in food service at some point. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody should have to also probably farm. I think everybody should have to
that's a good
farm
idea.
so that we know
Or
where
garden.
food actually comes from.
Or garden like Graham's doing.
And then I think everybody should do a year or two in the military. Like, if I'm being honest, everybody ought to have to do that. Take a year, no makeup, no earrings,
No eyelashes.
none of it. They tell you what to wear. They tell you when to get up. They tell you what to do. Just for a year or two, and then you move on.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen for me. So we can just move on right now.
Yeah. I think everybody would have a much better appreciation for what's going on in our country if they had to defend it for a minute. Just thinking out loud.
Who's more organized, Lisa or Terry?
Oh, Lisa.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's not even up for debate.
But you are organized about some things.
Not really.
Over there.
Yeah. Have you seen my desk?
Do you have any pets?
Nope.
Do you want any pets?
Nope.
What pet would you have if you could?
If I was going to get a pet, it would be, I don't know. It's not that I don't like pets. I don't want the responsibility of a pet. I don't want to have to go home and let the dog out. I don't want to have to replace the things it chews up. I don't want to have it leave hair all over my stuff. I just don't. Yeah.
Well,
and then they never last as long.
I was going to say
they don't usually outlive you, which then you got to go through that. So it's not that I don't like pets. I just don't want what pets create.
Yeah.
I love other people's pets.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
If you're going to get a pet, what would you get?
I would probably, I don't know, because of knowing I wouldn't get a dog because I know that that's the worst one for you.
Huh.
I'd probably get another bird.
Okay.
I loved Oliver, my white dove. He was wonderful.
And they're low maintenance.
And they're low maintenance. We could go away and leave him with his water and food, and as long as it was just like over a weekend. And otherwise, I'd have somebody come and pop in and check on him. But there's Indian neck birds that are really cute and smart. And I was really, really close to getting one back in February.
That was a $7,000 bird. By the time you fly down there and go get it, and
but there wasn't the money that
me out of that.
It wasn't the money that prevented me from getting it.
No.
Do you know what it was?
What?
That they live 30 years, and I didn't want to have to will them to somebody.
Well, you'll
It
be
was a
here
hurt.
30 years from now.
30 years from now?
You'll whistle right by that.
Only if it's good quality. Blah, 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 blah.
We almost went into the health thing again.
I know,
didn't we?
we're not. Okay, so
look
what
at the
music do
time.
you like to play in the house on Saturday mornings? You're gonna whip through.
I like, there's a cool jazz station sometimes that I like. There's a bluegrass station that I like. There's the beach house music
I know,
that you
that's
like
my
that I
favorite.
like.
And actually, you play it all the time, and it makes me so happy.
I only play it when you're around. I don't play it when you're not around.
Oh, so you don't like
Makes you
business.
happy.
It does make me
You
happy.
know what I've learned? When you're happier, everything's better for me. It's completely selfish.
I love your honesty. It's so great. Okay, this one's what's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Ooh.
And I can't.
Do what she says.
Did somebody tell you that? I thought you just made that up on your own.
No, that's the thing. I've never invented anything. I have. I don't think I've ever had an original thought. Like everything I do is either boosted from somebody else, modified from something I learned. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a creative, just my own thought. I don't know anybody who has though.
I know we're all
When you think
recycling.
about it, it's all, yeah. And I love morphing what other people have done successfully into a way that makes me feel good about doing it. But I am not above, modifying whatever needs modified to suit whatever needs suited. But yeah, I don't know that I've ever had like my own original, hey, I thought of something.
Yeah.
Well, somebody else already thought of
Well,
it.
I was going to say they're just saying what's the advice that you've gotten, the best piece of advice that you've ever received. But
When I say do what she says, I could also let that be don't be selfish. Be selfless. Selfish, selfless. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Best piece of advice I've ever received. How
I
about
know
you?
that's hard.
It is
no,
hard.
I
we've gotten a lot of good advice.
we have. And
Some bad advice.
not very much. I feel like, we've gotten really good advice from our parents. I really respect my mom's opinion on everything.
Yeah.
She's like my go-to person. So I can't say that there's ever just one piece of advice, but
Okay.
Throughout my life, through all the levels and things that you have to learn through life, she's always had really good advice.
Agreed.
And also just recently, somebody's mentioned that your body isn't your enemy, and it wasn't really advice, but that we need to, rather than fight against the symptoms, we need to work with them. So that was something that kind of stuck with me too.
Symptoms are actually your friend.
Yeah, they
But
really are.
That's flirting with health again.
That's flirting with health again. So I didn't want to stay on that too long. Okay, wrapping it up.
Go.
What does living well together mean to you in one sentence?
Do you mean the podcast living well together? Or do you mean what does living well
I think it
together
could be either.
mean to you?
I mean, living well together is sort of, it is the name of the podcast, but it's also, we live well together with us. We live well together, hopefully, with our families
I think
and our
one
community.
of the things that I think is important is that you don't have to compromise.
Yeah.
You know, everybody says, oh, marriage is about compromise. Well, it's kind of not. It's about making sure you get your way and making sure I get my way. It's just a we get our way thing.
Yeah.
I don't have to give up anything to get you something. It's like there's plenty for everybody, whatever it might be, whether it's material things or whether it's energy or whether it's, love or whatever. There doesn't have to be necessarily compromise.
Right.
It just needs to be, how do we figure out how to get what we both want?
Right. I think of it as rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah. Living well together to me, it's actually just kind of boils down to one word.
Because it's easy when you get out of it. It's easy to know when we're not in rhythm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's only happened
I stopped
once.
looking at him.
In 39 years, it's only happened one time.
True?
No. Oh. It's happened a million times.
But
Everybody thinks we have this fairy tale thing going.
Well, it doesn't happen very often, but you are really good at identifying it, and you find a way to break through my cold-heartedness and
smack you around a little.
No, you actually find a way to make me see the humor in whatever we're dealing with. And as soon as you make me laugh, it just kind of cracks the ice. It's good.
Good to know.
I mean, I know that you
make myself a little note about that.
Well, I know that you used to get in trouble so much in school for like just being who you are. And it's so
it's so funny.
It's so unfair.
Well, with all the graduation stuff recently, somebody was talking about senior superlatives. And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Did you have a senior superlative?
We did not do those.
I was the funniest senior.
I believe that. You are the funniest. You're the funniest person I know.
And when they were announcing it, I was not paying attention.
Not a surprise either.
I was talking to my neighbor, goofing off. And they're like, hey, Terry.
What did I do?
Oh, but I didn't remember that until somebody asked me that recently in the office.
But you use it to your advantage. You make it easy to talk to you, and you make it easy for us to continue on in a good rhythm in our living well together life. Yeah.
I can't think of a better place to stop this podcast.
No, I think we're good. So, yeah. So people, are we going to wrap it up then?
What should they do, Lisa?
Like, subscribe, and share with all your friends and family. And
this was a fun one, and I like not talking about health. Although some of those next time I get to read the questions.
Oh no, you're so much better right off.
Not really.
You are, and it's
all right. So they've liked, they've subscribed, and they've shared.
Yes, and then we'll see you next week.
See you next
friends.
time.
Bye.
Oh, let's get out of here. It's too nice to be indoors.
Did you like those?